Now we want to look at the different levels of consciousness as we earlier highlighted, and what holds these different levels of consciousness together. Our value systems. Do we have values? What drives our values? Notice, for us to have values, we need to define them. And for us to define them, we need first of all to pick them up, choose, decide what they would be. Integrity, authenticity, being genuine. So there is a thought process involved. And these thought processes will determine where we land in the hierarchy of values. Let's visit them, shall we? Notice the lowest frequency of thought is worry. And this is counterproductive. So when we live in the space of worry, all we can think about are our burdens, the burdens that we carry. And when we're inundated with our burdens, obviously, they bring with them all our cares. The cares have back of them our concerns. These concerns sometimes cause confusion. The confusion may sometimes bring about complacency because we're overwhelmed. This overwhelm brings with it doubts, and then we snap into despair. Then desperation, destitution, desolation. And if we're not careful, unbeknownst to us, we start sowing seeds of division and inadvertently allow others to sow seeds of division within us. These seeds take root, of course, ultimately. And when they mature, they cause frustration, bitterness, resentment. Then there's hesitation. And before we know it, we snap in a state of worry and weariness, which engender in turn restlessness. And if we're not careful, we descend into a state of recklessness. These can all be encapsulated as our fears. I would say this brings us to yet another concept, emotions. And I'll just say this in passing. We can discuss this and go into deeper, further depth later. There are just two emotions, love and fear. And the opposite of love is not hate. No, it is fear. I don't know whether to break this down further or to leave it at this and then for us to revisit it in another segment. I think I'll leave it at that. Just remember that there is love. When we operate in that place and headspace of love, remember, love procreates, love co-creates, love gives, love forgives. Love creates an environment that is so conducive. Healing occurs. How? Through communication, which is made up of two parts, conversation and dialogue. Conversation will bring out our differences, our misunderstandings, and our disagreements. Dialogue allows us and enables us to look at things from each other's perspective, and then we gain understanding. We exchange energies, we build synergy, and we go up one rung of that spiritual ladder. We descend or we ascend from the flesh to the spirit, which is what living in the spirit is all about. We live above the pale of our challenges, and that is the beauty of that ascent. Just as I said that the word grief came to mind. Grief is a calling to a higher order of living. We will talk about that later, and we will see the different stages of grief, the Kabbalah Ras cycle. It's beautiful to behold, and we go back and forth. So it's not a stepwise thing, but we get to visit it later. So that's love for you. And love obviously is patience. And when you stretch patience infinitely, it becomes unconditional love. So assume patience were a string. If you stretch it to and beyond its elastic limit ad infinitum, you get unconditional love. Because if someone is that patient, there will never be any misunderstanding. If there is no misunderstanding, there will never be any conflict. We will learn to be vulnerable. We will master the art of staying vulnerable. Because there'll be no reason for us to be insecure. That is where conflict arises. The polar opposite of love would be fear, which then breaks into two parts: anger and sadness. If you're predominantly angry, it's because you are the sort of person who wants to control things. When we lose self-control, we then project. We want to control our environment. We want to control the people, the places, the things, situations and circumstances. Even the things that we can only influence, we try to control. Things we have absolutely no influence, completely outside of our scope of competence to handle and to even influence, we try to control, and we break ourselves in the process. Notice this is an invitation for us to make that deep dive and to check ourselves as we travel together, as we journey along this path. Then of course there is sadness for people who are sad, who tend to spend more time in sadness than in anger. We would obviously experience both, and we would manifest both, but we would equally always have a preference, a go-to area. The first port of call will either be anger or sadness. For those who prioritize sadness, we do so, or they do so, because to them connection is more important than wielding power and authority. So when they feel like the world is not treating them fairly, they go to this place of sadness. And what they would typically do is curl in, retreat, move away, curl up, share a tear with a pillow or a loved one. Or they would turn to their guilty pleasures, binge eat, binge drink, binge watch, or any other binge. And for those who are smart, who have overcome, who have grown, they pick that guilty pleasure and ensure that it serves them. They may go jogging, they may go running, they may hit the gym. So that's that lowest rung of thought worry.